All right, here's the second half of 4.4. This is more word problems. I know, you're probably going nuts with all the word problems. But hang in there, we'll get through this. All right, let X equal the amount invested in the first fund and Y the amount invested in the second fund. Therefore, X plus Y is your total amount invested. That's logical, right? If I invest $500 in, let's see, road work, and I invest $700 in swimming pools, I will have invested $500 plus $700 or $1,200 total, right? That's all that's saying. Okay, X interest rate for investment time in decimal form. Okay. The amount of interest back I get. So I invested $500 in road work. Let's say I get back a 10% interest on the money I invested in road work. Well, I'm going to get 10% or 0.1, that's the decimal equivalent, 0.1 times the $500 I invested. So $50. So I'm going to gain an interest of $50. That's 0.1 times 500. If I get a 20% return on the money I invested in swimming pools, because everybody loves swimming pools, makes no sense, everybody drives too, but anyway, 20% on the amount I invested in swimming pools. I invested $700, so the amount of interest I will earn in the first year is going to be 0.2 times 700, right? That's $140. So I will have earned $140 on that investment. Okay, so that's all this second paragraph is talking about. Now, here's a problem you might get. You invested $9,000, so that's a total. So, $9,000 in two funds, paying 4% and 7% respectively. So 4%, so 0.04 and 0.07. That's 4% and 7%. At the end of the year, the total interest from these investments would be $555. So this is X, this is Y, X, Y. We put a plus, and there we go. That's our two equations. Now you can solve these two equations however you want. Now I have a nice convenient X and Y here, so I can do it through substitution. So I would end up with Y equals 9,000 minus X. I would plug that in, 0.04X plus 0.07 times 9,000 minus X is equal to 555. Okay, so I'm going to put this in my calculator because I'm not going to do 7% of 9,000 on the top of my head. So I have 9,000 times 0.07. And I get 630. So I have 0.04x plus 630 minus 0.07x. I subtract the 630. I put the 0.07 and the 0.07 and the 0.04 together. I'm subtracting, so I end up with 0.03x equals negative 75. I divide both sides by negative 0.03, leaving me with x equals negative 75 divided by negative 0.03. Oops, I forgot to write the negative on that side. And I get 22,500. So X, I invested $2,500 in X. Well, since X and Y is 9,000, all I have to do is subtract that from 9,000 to get what Y is. So the question is, how much was invested at each rate? Okay. $2,500 at 0.04. Well, let's just do that at 4%. And then if I take 9,000 minus 2,500, I've got $650. Sorry, $6,500 at 7% interest. That's the answer to the question. All right, number 2. You invested money in 2 funds. Last year, the first fund paid a dividend of 8%. Here's my first fund. So last year was 8%, 0.08 of my X, and a second dividend of 5%. And you received not X, Y. Whoops, let's not make that complicated. All right. My interest earned was 1330. Okay. This year, the first fund paid 12%, and the second only 2%. And I received $1,500 in interest. How much money did you invest in each one? Well, it doesn't tell me a grand total, so that's going to make it a little more complicated. But now I have 2 equations, so that's all I really have to worry about. Now, one of the things we can do is get rid of the decimals. I assume you would just as soon do that. So each of these, I need to go through and multiply through by 100. That's going to get rid of my decimals. All right, so that turns this into 8x plus 5y equals, and 2 more zeros because I multiplied it by 100. And it turns my second equation into 12x plus 2y equals the 1,500 plus 2 more zeros because of the 100. Now you notice, no more decimals. Yay, my math just got easier. All right, I look at these. And I decide what I'm going to use. Do this substitute. Nothing is x's. Nothing falls out if I straight up add them. I'd have to multiply this by 1 by 2 and then 1 by 5. Or with the 8 and the 12, I could multiply the 8 by 3 and the 12 by 2. That might be a little easier. Or I could do it with Kramer's rule. Let's see Kramer's rule. Okay. So my first matrix is 8, 5, 12, 2. So 8 times 2 is 16, minus 12 times 5 is 60. This is going to leave me with a negative 44. D sub x is 133. This is the only problem with doing this. And the y column. All right, I'm going to use my calculator because those are big numbers. 133 and then 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3 times 2. I get 266,000. Minus 5 times 150,000. There we go. And I get 750,000. All right. Now, when I subtract these, nope, my mistake. I didn't get enough zeros on that, so I get, now it worked. 484 and 3 zeros. Okay. Now I have d sub y is 8 and 12 with my answer column. Okay, so I have 8 times 150,000, and I get 1,200,000. And I'm going to subtract 12 times, 13, 133, 3 zeros. And I get minus 1,596,00. Oh, this was a negative, sorry. Okay, so I take the 1,200,000 and I subtract the 1,596,000. And I get a negative 396,000. Now I have to place each one of these over the 44. So we're going to do that over here. So x equals the determinant I came up with for x, which was 484 with 3 zeros after, divided by negative 44. And I get 11,200. Wow, okay, we've got to cover that up. 11,000 in x. Y is our 396 3 zeros. And we're going to divide that by 44. We get 9,000. So that's how much I invested in each fund using Kramer's rule. Okay, so now we're going to move on to number 4. I jumped forward page 2, or the next. For you guys at 2, 3, on your handout it'll be page 4, I believe. I just split it in half for the 2 lessons. All right, solving a mixture problem. Jeweler needs to mix an alloy of 16% gold and an alloy of 28% gold to obtain 32 ounces of, okay, first time we've seen ounces. So ounces, 32. So the ounces of gold in this, and the ounce in alloy 1, and the ounces of gold in the total number of ounces that I use for alloy 1 plus the total number of ounces I use for alloy 2 need to equal 32 ounces, because that's how much I'm going to make of the new alloy. Okay, now alloy 1 had 16%, so it's 0.16, 16% gold, plus the amount of gold in alloy 2, which was 0.28, has to equal a 25% times that 32 I need to use. Okay, so that last number is kind of different. So I'm going to do that real quick. Oh, that's easy. 1/4 of 32 is 8. So that means I need 8. Okay. All right. So, well, now I have x and y. So I'm going to do substitution. Y equals 32 minus x. 16.16x plus 0.28 times 32 minus x equals 8. Okay, so I have 0.16x plus the 0.28 I have to distribute. So 0.28 times 32 is 8.96 minus 0.28x. All right, now I'm going to subtract the 8.96 But when I do that, I can see right away I'm going to have a negative 0.96 on that side. On this side, this goes away, and I'm going to add these two together. So I have 0.16 minus 0.28. I get negative 0.12. All right, I divide both sides by that negative 0.12. I get 0.96 divide 0.12. I get 8. So X is 8. So I need 8 ounces of alloy 1. Okay. 8 ounces of alloy 1. And then I plug that in. Since I need 32 altogether, I need 24 ounces of alloy 2. This is going to give me my 32 ounces. All right, there we go. All right, we have one more mixture problem. Okay, for example number 2, a wine company needs to blend. Again, it's a mixture problem. They need to blend a California wine with 5% alcohol. So that's our wine 1. Okay, this is our California. So 5% alcohol, 0.05, and a French alcohol with 9%, 0.09Y, to obtain 200 gallons of a wine at 7%. So that's 0.07 times the 200 gallons. So it's the amount of alcohol in wine 1 plus the amount of alcohol in wine 2 has to equal the amount of alcohol overall. Now gallons, X gallons of California, Y gallons of French has to equal 200 gallons. Okay, now we've got our two equations. All right, so how do we solve this? Well, y equals 200 minus x. We plug that in. 0.09. Y is 200 minus x. And that equals 200 times 0.07. So let's figure out what that is. It's 14. It equals 14. So basically we're saying 14 gallons of alcohol. Pure alcohol. That would kill you, just so you know. Don't try this. Okay, so then you have 0.05x. We're going to distribute the 0.09 in. That's going to give us 0.05x plus 0.09 times 200. That's 18 minus 0.09x. And that has to equal 14. So I'm going to subtract the 18. This is going to give me a negative 4. And I have to put the 0.05 and the negative 0.09 together. That's going to leave me with a negative 0.04x. So we divide both sides by the negative 0.04. Negative 4 divided by negative 0.04. And we get 100. Okay, so we need 100 gallons. Sorry, moved my little mat. I have to shift this up a bit. Where was I? Oh, X is 100 gallons. Wow. Okay, that... It's A, it's not a good X, and B, it's not a good equal sign. I'm going to try that again. X equals. There we go. Yeah. All right, so now I plug that into my equation, I have y equals 200 minus 100, and I get 100. So the question was, how many gallons of each kind of wine? So 100 gallons of California wine. And 100 gallons of French wine. Will make 200 gallons at 7% alcohol. Okay. There we go. Now we're on 1,000. Whoa, what happened? Oh, I think I went page 3. Motion problem. Okay, remember distance is rate times time. Rate times time. This can be used to help solve the following. Example 1. Julie and Eric row their boat at a constant speed of 440 miles. So this is D. Downstream for 4 hours. So 4 hours is my T. The constant speed is R. Helped with the current. So downstream. So this one goes in our downstream line. So we have the current, So the downstream, I have my constant speed is the base rate. Constant speed. Plus, since it's downstream, it's getting pushed, so it's plus, we add the current rate. For upstream, we subtract the current rate. Okay, the resultant rate is 40 over the time was 4. That's one equation. Rowing at the same rate, the trip back, which is still 40 miles, takes 10 hours. All right, so we'll write these out here. We have C plus R equals 10, 40 divided by 4. C minus R equals 4. Okay. All right, so now what we have is, I'm going to make C equals 4 plus R. So 4 plus R equals 10. All right, so this is, so you can see where everything's coming from. This R is this R. The 10 is right here. And the 4 plus R is this 4 plus R, which is, I plugged in for C. All right. So back to the equation. This gives me, if I subtract the 4, 2R equals 6. So R is 3. I simply divide both sides by 2. So my rate is 3. Find the rate of the current. There we go. And it was miles and in hours, so per hour. All right, let's look at number 2. When a plane flies with the wind, That's going to be the base rate plus the wind rate. Okay? And against the wind is going to be the base rate minus the wind rate. All right? When a plane flies with the wind, it can travel 4,200 miles. Okay, with the wind. 4,200 miles in 6 hours. So, the resultant rate is the distance, which was 4,200 miles, divided by the time, which is 7 hours. And against the wind, it takes 7 hours to fly the same distance. That's the 4,200. That's a 4. You just can't see it very well. 4,200 divided by 7 hours. And, okay, you guys, I wish you were here because you would have kept me on the straight and narrow here. There we go. That should have been 6. See, right there. The second one is 7. Right here. I don't know where I got the 7 the first time. All right, so rewriting these, I have B plus W equals 4,200 divided by 6 is 700. B minus W, 4,200 divided by 7 is 600. All right, so B is equal to, actually, they want both rates for this one. So B is equal to 600 plus W. So we put it into the first equation. B is 600 plus W plus W. All right, let's see where these came from. This W is right here. This B, I use this equation, and it becomes this. And so this is equal to 700. I subtract the 600, and I add the two W's. I get 2W equals 100. Divide both sides by 2. W is 50. So this is the wind rate. That's supposed to be an M. Let's do this better. 50. This is an M, miles per hour. And the plane rate, if I put the W back in, I know that B minus 50 equals 650. So B, I add 50 to both sides. No, 600, sorry, is 650. So the plane rate is 650 miles per hour. All right, so there we go. Hopefully that was helpful.